Hello there guys! I am here today to talk about which support champions are going to be very good this patch. I understand that some people might disagree with some picks or say that I didn't mention this or that champion, but these are just the ones that I see are strong and can perform really well when you know how to play them, according to what I've seen in my games. So without further ado, let's start. As a little side note, Redemption has been buffed this patch. The healing has gone up and the cooldown it has been lowered, so it's an indirect buff to enchanters, so those champions are even stronger than before. This patch, Sona is getting a mini rework. When she uses her Q on an enemy or a W on an ally, the cooldown of her ult gets reduced. This is a buff to Sona, but in my opinion it isn't going to increase her win rate by a whole lot. Why? Because cooldown reduction isn't really Sona's problem, it never was. Sona is in a bad spot right now because she is super squishy and she gets blown up by any assassin that jumps on her. She is extremely mana hungry and her ranges are really short. She literally has to get in the enemy's face to poke them, and that puts her at risk since she's made of paper. These are just my predictions because I haven't had the chance to play Sona yet. I don't know how she actually feels in game, so I'll wait for the patch to drop to draw my final conclusions. Janna is in a pretty good spot right now. She has decent poke, great roaming potential due to her movement speed, and there's lots of champions that want to dive your team, both assassins in the mid lane and tanks in the bot lane, and she can disengage them all. Lulu got nerfed this patch. Her W got its cooldown increased, and her ult got its cooldown increased in the early game and stayed the same late game. This is a little bit of a nerf to her early game power and a little bit of a nerf to her peel, but I don't believe these changes will have that much of an impact on Lulu. She is still a very safe pick with low cooldowns and good poke, and the buff to Redemption will help you with the little bit of peeling power that she lost. If there is one champion I recommend you ban from this list is Yumi. All she has to do is stay inside her carry, press E, and when she deems it safe, she comes out, auto-attacks the enemy for the mana and the shield and goes back in. That's all she does. Because she doesn't need flash or boots, she has access to an extra item and to an extra defensive summoner spell, which makes her even more powerful. You might argue that in teamfights it's harder for her to come out and get the shield because she can get hit by a random ability or get bursted down. But all you really need to do is wait for the enemies to use their abilities and then you can leave your ally. Just pay attention and be careful. Soraka is someone with extremely powerful heals, but that lacks any kind of self-protection. So in my opinion, you shouldn't go Moonstone on her. Sure, it buffs your heals and it's very good for your team, but it doesn't help you in any way if an assassin jumps on you. Soraka is a literal ambulance. As long as she lives, the rest of her team lives. So you should really prioritize movement speed over a little bit more of healing. Her W and her ult are still incredibly powerful even without Moonstone. In your runes, you should take Guardian and Secondary Sorcery with Nimbus Cloak and Celerity. In your build, you go Shurelius and Boots of Swiftness. And in your summoner spells, you should go Flash and Heal. Because of the HP, the movement speed, and because Heal is actually better on the Enchanter than on the AD carry. Because the items that you build buff the summoner spell. But if your AD carry doesn't want you to take Heal, take Barrier instead. Seraphine is an underrated pick. The healing she can dish out with the newly buffed Redemption, 5 people under her W, and Moonstone will be very strong. She has strong poke in lane. If she lands her root, she can potentially get a kill or force a flash, and her ultimate is a complete game changer. Definitely pick her up, because people aren't seeing her potential. I mostly see players going Guardian on her, and I also prefer it, but Aerie is also viable. Rylai's is a very good item on her, and you can buy it. It's just not very cost effective for support Seraphine. Nami is a solid pick because she has a little bit of everything. She has engage, disengage, poke, and heals. If her AD carry gets dived by a Leona, she can peel for them. She can keep up with Soraka in terms of healing, and she can bully champions that don't have sustain like Janna and Zilean out of lane. However, Nami is very frail if she gets focused, so be careful with your positioning. Zilean, in my opinion, is underplayed and underrated. There's lots of burst in this meta, everyone gets popped out of nowhere, there's lots of assassins, and Zilean is the perfect counter for that with his ult. In the laning phase, he has decent poke, and can even get a kill if he lands both his bombs or force a flash. His W is great to help with this combo, to help his allies escape, or to slow enemies. I believe Shurelius is the best mythic on him, because it helps him with his lack of mobility and makes his chasing and escaping potential even stronger. Morgana is especially good as a counter pick to any kind of CC, be it from Leona or Nami, because of her black shield. But the lockdown potential and pick potential of her Q and the damage that comes from her Q-W combo should not be underestimated. If a squishy champion like Soraka gets binded in lane, she will either die or will be forced to flash. Imperial Mandate is a good item to increase your damage output, but Shurelius is also good because you can use it to not let your enemies run from your ult. Zyra is a champion with lots of damage, lots of poke, kill potential, and a greater range than most champions in the bot lane. She can bully tanks and enchanters alike, has good teamfight presence with her ult and her plants, and has enough burst to one-shot squishies, so she has solo carry potential. Because of his hook, Blitzcrank has lots of presence in lane and pick potential. He is great at roaming and at punishing bad positioning by his enemies. However, you get heavily outscaled by other supports, unless you get a really good hook in a late game teamfight, so look to end the game early. Leona is a beast full of CC. Much like other engaged supports, she has lots of presence in lane, great roaming, she can pick off enemies from far away with her ult, and her full CC combo is really scary and can almost guarantee a kill. She is good during every stage of the game and is easy to pick up due to the simplicity of her kit. Nautilus is an extremely oppressive champion. His CC is scary, he is super tanky, his roams are incredibly good, and his ult is very reliable, even more than other support tanks' ults, because it's targeted, you just can't miss it. And if you use it carefully, you can hit an entire team with it. If you like engaged supports, Nautilus is the go-to on this patch. And these were the support champions that are the strongest at the moment, in my opinion, and that can bring you the biggest success. I hope you liked it. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section below. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time, guys. Bye!